Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin. Hello and welcome to episode number 23 on the Online Trainers Podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about why your lead magnet sucks, and why lead magnets in general suck, and kind of direct you to something more that's working at this moment in time. And I really want to do this because it hits me really hard. As someone who bootstraps, really, launching your business off the ground using $200, $300 to try and get your online business off the ground, I see so many people waste a lot of money on lead magnets that don't convert. And one of the big problems is you're trying to do what everyone else is doing. And if you fall into that trap, what you have to understand is because everyone else is doing it, it's so saturated inside the market that the marketplace kind of becomes immune to it, right? Lead generation and marketing works well when it's interruptive, when it grabs someone's attention. And if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're probably not going to be able to grab their attention because people just turn a blind eye to it, So one big topic I want to talk about, because I know, if you're starting off your online personal training business, for most of us, I said, we don't want to spend a lot of money on advertising. We want the greatest return. We want $1,000 in return, and we want to put $1 in the coin slot. And for bigger companies like Digital Marketer, bigger companies like ClickFunnels and advertising agencies, well, they'll be happy to put $1 in and get $1.50 out every single time, okay? And that's cool because they're scaling up and they're at a different business level. And I think for anybody that's starting out and you are the sole person, you are the business owner, it's possible for you to put $1 in and possibly get $50 out, but you're just going to work at a much slower rate. You won't be able to scale that, and you'll quickly hit a bottleneck very, very quickly. Okay. But let's talk about your lead magnet and essentially why I think the death of the lead magnet's coming, only because of these statistics so far that's happened, right? Now, if we look at the lead magnet's supposed to do a few things. It's supposed to help us acquire a new customer in our niche. It's supposed to, a lead magnet is a piece of information. It can be a PDF, it can be a video that we give out to build trust, to build authority, but to also build this thing called the law of reciprocity. I think I got the word right. Let's pretend I got it right, and we'll call it reciprocity, right? And that just means that if you give something to someone, they feel the need to give back to you. They need to reciprocate, okay? And so the lead magnet's supposed to do three things. It's supposed to build trust, and build authority, increase your brand awareness, and it's supposed to make your client or the prospect feel as though they owe you one. Right? Because if I want to get from point A to point B, I always say this, if you get me from point A to point B, I'm going to owe you one. Now, the problem with most lead magnets and the problem with PDFs is the fact that they're not being seen. I mean, in 2016, there was a report where I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was looking at the typical lead magnet open rates. Generally, when you send these lead magnets out, you send them straight to their inbox. And the truth is that at this current moment in time, 10% of emails get opened, okay? Now, that means for every 100 people that you're paying to download your lead magnet, only 10% of them actually get opened. Now, from that 10%, right, from the 100 people that download your stuff, only 3% click on the actual link or the lead magnet, okay? Now, 3 out of 100 people click on the link. That doesn't mean that they consume your content. That means they just check it out and they click on it, okay? Then they have to read it in order for you to build trust and build reciprocation, right? And build authority. They actually have to follow through and follow the instructions and take action. Now, how many people out of that 3 out of 100 do you think is going to follow through, take action, and, read and follow through with your lead magnet? Not many. Okay, I don't even know if we can get to a whole number, but that's pretty ridiculous. And that's the game that we're playing now. So especially if you're running a lead magnet, you just have to remember that that's what you're battling against. Now, of course, there are many things to increase lead magnets, and there are some companies that do it well, and people like Digital Marketer, they'll put out a lead magnet and they will try to, sell you something on the back end. So they'll introduce something called an upsell. So you download a lead magnet, they will tell you to buy something and it's $7, and it might be a report. It might be an extension of that lead magnet. Okay. And what they're trying to do there is they're just trying to recoup their cost of advertising, because it's already cost them $5 to get your email address. Hopefully if they can sell you this $7 thing, it kind of bottles out, it kind of evens out. And so they get an email address for free. And so how they do this is they start to stack things. Okay. Now, this is quite a highly advanced marketing skill that I've very rarely seen pulled off by very few people. A lot of people talk about doing it, very few pull it off well. And I'm not telling you to start this, because the truth is, if you're starting an online personal training business, if your core skill is helping people change their lives by helping them getting fitter, losing weight, this shouldn't be your expertise. But you should understand this. You should know what tactics are going on behind the scenes. So they'll use these upsells, and that hopefully negates. So after you buy a $7 product, they might try and sell you a $197 product. And so what happens is, over time, you might reduce the cost of spending. So instead of paying $5 a lead, you might pay 30 cents, because you've suddenly got all the other products making money for you. Okay. But that's beside the point. And that's really going back to, you might be asking, well, Lynn, if lead magnets aren't doing that well, why are so many companies running it? They're running it, and they're running it with this model, which makes it more profitable for them, but it reduces the advertising costs, and they know their numbers. In the previous podcast episode, I spoke about knowing your numbers. If you know your numbers, you know that, okay, an email address is then worth $1.50 to me every single month. And if you know your numbers, then it becomes easy, because you remember, it's not about getting leads, it's about your conversion process. There's no point in having 1,000 emails or 10,000 or 100,000 emails if you don't know how to turn them into money. But that's beside the point. And I'm really just digressing here, because I just want to open up your world to a slightly bigger thing that's out there. And you might be thinking, well, Lynn, what do? I've got no idea how to do upsells. I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to write copy. I don't know how to design, and these are skills that you're going to need to acquire along the way if you choose to go down that route. And by all means, if you choose to, that's cool as well. Let me know how you go. I've been down that route as well. I'm still constantly testing. But for a personal trainer that's trying to bootstrap, that's putting $1 in to get $50 out, you need to do this. You need to implement the lead magnet, and you need to get it right. Because here's the thing, the great thing, that if you help someone to get from point A to point B, if you get them there, you're going to be the trusted expert. You're going to be the number one advisor. You're going to build authority. They're going to feel the need to give back to you. Okay. We're going to back that law of reciprocation. Okay. They're going to feel that need to give back to you because you've helped them. Now, the best way you can do this, and not that I want this to go all over the place, but this is with challenges. This is with a video series that they can follow along with. Okay, so if you launch a challenge and your strategy might be this: come and join my challenge, and you send them emails through automated emails every single day. Once they join in, you get them to come into your Facebook group, and then you get them to engage with you via Facebook Messenger, right? So now, instead of having just that 10% chance that 10 out of 100 people are actually going to open your email, you're actually getting a better response rate. But that's not the point. That's just the response rate. The actual value comes in, and the actual value comes in helping them get results. So if you make it your number one focus to help them get results, you're going to sign up more clients. If they don't get results, they're not going to see you as the trusted expert. They're not going to see you as the authority. They're not going to see you as the number one advisor that they should know, love, and trust and follow, because you didn't get them results, no matter how good your content was. Okay. So that's what you really need to understand. And a challenge is a great way to do that. And, if you can get them from point A to point B, naturally they're going to ask what's from point B to point C. So I see this time and time again. It is tough, right? This online world is tough. It's not so much going out there and making, $100,000, and it's going to be in a blink of an eye, and you're going to be sipping martinis on a beach in Bali. And I wish it was that way. But actually, I'm happy that it isn't, because, even though the barrier to entry is so low, what I mean by that is anybody can get started. Anybody can set up a lead magnet and sign up clients right away. It means that if you're really good and you're really persistent, you will rise to the top. And these are the strategies and kind of the mindset that you have, or you have to have, in order to rise to the top. Okay. And when I say that is, when you deploy your lead magnet, you need to make sure they get a transformation. So the question you should be asking yourself is, how can I make sure that this lead magnet ends in them getting a transformation? Because if I know that they transform, they're most likely going to ask me for help, or I have a better chance of getting onto a call with them, or I have a better chance at jumping on and helping them further. Okay, because here's the thing, if you don't help them make that transformation, somebody else is, right? They're going to go to your competitors. They're probably going to download another 100 different lead magnets on fat loss, and then they'll read one. Okay, so the question I need to ask for you inside of your marketing today is, what are you doing to stand out? What are you doing to make sure that your clients are actually getting results? Because you have to understand, it's not, change your focus from I want to make money or I want to get 100 leads. Who cares about the leads? Right? Get leads in, but every single lead, if you get them results, they're going to become a hot prospect. And that's what I want to try to shift for you today, only because I fell into that trap once upon a time, and it wasn't even too long ago, but 12 months ago, trying to build these upsells, downsells, trying to look at things as though if I'm getting 100 people, here's what's going to happen in the back end. I put $1 in, I'm going to make $2 down. To be fair, that doesn't work well. And even the best companies in the world, the best copywriters who they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, the best graphics designers, the people that put the web pages together and the funnels and the connections and the integrations and the follow-up series and the remarketing, they have trouble putting $1 in and making $2 out. And I only know this because I work with one of the very best, Russell Brunson, who is the founder of ClickFunnels, right? So, having a better insight is that you have to just be aware of what people tell you and what people try to sell to you. And you have to look beyond that. And if you follow this formula of building trust first, delivering results in advance, changing your focus from trying to think about monetizing on the front to how can I help this person? And I know it sounds so cliche. I know it sounds like, Lynn, tell me something new. But the fact is, if you're struggling, you've probably been thinking the other way and you haven't been thinking this way. You have to let these things settle in. And one of the things that I learned was that I never ever want to be the smartest person in the room. Somebody out there knows something, regardless of whether all walks of life, that they can teach me. Okay. So if you come in with that mindset and, this is totally another topic for another day, but I feel as though, when people come to adulthood, they immediately shut off and they immediately feel as though they need to know everything. Right? Like when you hit the age of 18 or 21 in America, people just instantly turn from this adolescent who's still learning, who's still making mistakes, to actually, I know everything. And so when you turn into that I know everything type of person, you reduce your ability to learn. Okay. You stunt your ability to grow. And I see this time and time again, only because ego gets in the way. And this is purely another topic. And I think if you are out there, you are trying a lot of things and you're listening to a lot of things, you're not implementing it because you're not letting your ego get out of the way. Okay. You have to put that aside. You have to go, okay, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to try this. I'm going to implement this thing and I'm going to make sure it works. I'm going to do nothing else until I get this right. Whereas a lot of people will start dabbling around on things. Okay. But like I said, that's completely another topic and I've gone over time. But hey, if you enjoyed this and if you want to know more about challenges, leave a review on iTunes. Tell me that you want to know more about challenges. That way I can kind of search my brain, search my toolbox, search in for my clients, see what they're doing and hopefully help you out with more. But really, if you really enjoyed this episode, just leave a review. That would be greatly appreciated. And of course, drop me a line. If you haven't signed up to the email list, head on over to onlinetrainersclub.com, I believe. Subscribe there and you'll get some really cool knowledge bomb daily emails that I write every single morning at Barry Cafe in Northcote. And that's a lot of journaling, reflecting and adding value. Nothing to sell. Once again, I'm kind of go against the trends of what everyone says. And I like to do things my own way. And I think that's what you should do as well. It's your business. The fantastic thing about being the business owner is you can get to do it your way. Okay. There isn't one way. You get to do it your way. You get to sell if you want to sell. You get to just deliver value if you want to deliver value. But the one thing that you need to understand if you're to stay in business is a conversion process. And I think that I spoke about that in the previous podcast, but I hope you have a fantastic day. Keep smashing it. And I hope this added tremendous value to how you run and grow your business. All right. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes and feel free to leave a review. And that way I can respond and I can take that on board in developing content to serve you. Now, if you're not a part of the Online Trainers Club on Facebook, please do yourself a favor and be a part of the conversation. That's where I add daily tips, tricks, and strategies on how you can build out funnels, how you can get more clients, and ultimately become a better online coach. Thank you for listening. Upsells.